I've had this Kindle you see here for a few months now. It's a Kindle Paperwhite, and today I want to talk about whether it's worth buying a Kindle this year. Honestly, we're going to discuss some disadvantages and some advantages because, just like there's good, there's bad, and each of you has to make your own choice. So, one important thing before we start is that we won't get too technical or into details like the amount of light, brightness, or battery life, because I want to focus this video more on the end user who just doesn't want to complicate things, who wants to see if it's worth it or not, wants to read, and wants to know what things to consider, what advantages it has, and what disadvantages it might have. But we won't dive too deep into the technical stuff. Instead, I'll share my user experience in my day-to-day reading with this Kindle device. By the way, if you want to buy it, I think there's a deal right now, and I'll leave a link in the video description so you can go buy it directly on Amazon, which is the only official place that sells it. You might find it in your countries, but in stores that bring it from other places, and maybe the warranty won't work as well. But let's start with the bad stuff because it's better to get that out of the way first, and then we can finish with the good stuff, which is the best part. So, obviously, the entry price for this device is higher than many physical books, clearly just for one book. But let's say it starts at around $99 to $150, and if you add a case or cover or whatever you call it, the price will obviously go up a lot more. So, the entry price is pretty high compared to books. But remember that this isn't just a book. It's not like you get it and can start reading right away because, obviously, this is a device for reading where you have to load your own books. There is an advantage to this when it comes to buying books, but we'll talk about that later. Right now, I want to focus on the fact that for many, the need to invest so much money in a device can be a pretty big barrier compared to just buying traditional physical books, which are obviously cheaper than the Kindle. But as I said, in the advantages, we'll see something that addresses this disadvantage. Also, keep this in mind. The second disadvantage is something that varies for each of us, and I can't say it for you at all. But the lack of smell and the feel of having a book in your hand obviously disappears because this feels more like holding a phone or a tablet than a book itself. Obviously, the experience is quite different compared to a regular phone or an iPad or any tablet because when you're reading, you're looking at a screen that closely resembles a traditional book thanks to the e-ink technology. But the experience isn't the same. It's just not. Even though we can highlight text in the Kindle and look up terms in the dictionary, it's not the same as doing it in traditional books. So if this experience is really important to you and you wouldn't trade it for anything, even if many people tell you to just go for it, then don't. It's something that comes from within you. Maybe you just prefer reading a physical book over the Kindle, which, theoretically, is pretty much the same once you have the book downloaded. But in terms of user experience, it's not the same. However, if you're willing to shift your mindset a bit, you might adapt to the Kindle experience. The third disadvantage is the obvious need to charge it since it's an electronic device. With a physical book, no matter what happens, unless the book gets damaged, you can have it with you every day. But with the Kindle, you really depend a lot on the battery. There is an advantage that addresses this point, but it's still important to keep in mind. The fourth point is the impossibility of reselling or giving away your books. Obviously, if I want to lend a book to a friend or anyone else, and I want them to read it, I have to hand over my entire Kindle to them. I mean, I have to give it to them so they can use it, take it with them, and read that book. Or if I want to gift it, it's the same deal. But what about traditional books? Obviously, when you have a traditional book, you hold it in your hands, you stop reading it, and if you want to lend it or give it to someone, it's as easy as just handing it over, and you don't have to worry about anything at all. Here, since the book is directly linked to the Kindle, there's no way to take it out or extract it from there unless you do a factory reset. You have a PDF, an EPUB or some kind of book format so that you can give it to the person and they can also read it digitally. But if that person is not a digital reader, then we would have the dilemma of buying a physical book for that person because our books would be 100% digital. And the last disadvantage is associated with the storage of our device. This will depend on which one you are going to buy and what kind of books you are going to watch or if you are going to upload anime, manga and this kind of things that usually tend to weigh more. But let's say, if you buy an 8 GB Kindle, then obviously you are more likely to run out of space soon, but if you buy one of 16 or 32, then obviously it will take you longer to fill all that storage. But if you are a reader of traditional books, then there really wouldn't be any problem because it is very difficult to fill absolutely your entire book library with traditional books. That is, those that only have text and almost no images because these don't usually weigh much. And apart from this, what Amazon does is compress them a little more so the weight is less even, so you can have a lot of books. In fact, this disadvantage becomes an advantage in the end, but well, I think that already, believe me, that I made a great effort to talk about the disadvantages. I wanted to start with the downsides so you wouldn't think Amazon is paying me or something, as that's not the case. But I can't tell you anything other than this device solves everything. I think the only reason I wouldn't buy a Kindle or tell someone not to buy one would be if they have vision problems. Maybe they can't see well on these screens, or if they want to keep that traditional book experience, wanting to have their shelves and libraries behind them, like me here recording with a nice aesthetic background and all that. But other than that, I really highly recommend getting a Kindle if you're watching this video because it seriously has everything. So now let's talk about the advantages. I think I'll talk about more advantages than disadvantages. In fact, it was really hard for me to find downsides because it hardly has any. Honestly, it's a game changer. Let's talk advantages. Battery lasts weeks. Charges fast. Storage ample. Cloud helps manage space. Let's start with the advantages. Battery life is impressive. Unless you're reading constantly, it can last weeks or even months with sporadic use. It charges quickly and doesn't drain while reading. When I first got my Kindle, it had about 21% battery and lasted almost a month with regular use. I was surprised by its longevity. Storage is another point. The 8 GB version is hard to fill because modern books are lightweight. Even if you download too many, you don't need to delete them permanently. Use the cloud library to manage space. Delete from the device but keep in the cloud. This way, you can re-download anytime. Just ensure you don't delete from your Amazon account, or the book will be gone permanently. Another disadvantage we have is storage. Believe me, it's definitely extremely difficult for the 8 GB version to fill up because books these days weigh practically nothing. Nowadays, books are absolutely really lightweight, so you can access them anytime. And even if, for some reason, you download too many books and fill it up, you don't even have to delete them. There's a cloud library and a library on your Kindle, so you can do this. You can delete the book from your Kindle so it's not stored on the device, but you still keep it in the cloud. What does this mean? So when you delete it, if in the future you want to read that book again or check your notes or whatever, you can just download it back onto your Kindle, and you'll still have it available. Then you can delete it again if you want. Just a heads up, only delete it from the Kindle. Don't delete it from your Amazon account because that's where you'll run into the problem of the book being completely gone, and there's no way to recover it. The third advantage is access to the world, literally. What do I mean by that? I'm sure if you've wanted to buy a certain book recently and couldn't find it in your country to buy it physically, it's a hassle. A real headache searching through a bunch of places, libraries, and websites to find that book. Sometimes you even have to import it, which jacks up the price because, on top of the book itself, you have to pay for the packaging and shipping, and in some countries, it can get pretty pricey. What about taxes they have to pay? Well, with the Kindle it's super easy. Why? First, there's the Amazon library where most writers publish. If not on Amazon, check free libraries. I've made videos about this, linked in the description or a pinned comment. Remind me if I forget, and I'll add it in the comments for free books, both old and new, to load onto the Kindle. Another advantage is price. Without printing, designing, or shipping, costs drop, making digital books cheaper. Reading is easier. Open the book, and it's like having the physical book, but cheaper. We have instant access. Physical books from abroad mean waiting, but digital books are instant. Another advantage is lightness. If I say I have 350 books, imagine carrying them in a bag to university or school. The next advantage is the price of digital books. Without the need for printing, design, or shipping, costs are reduced, benefiting consumers. Digital books are cheaper, and reading on a device is convenient, as it feels like having a physical book without the cost. We have instant access anytime. Physical books ordered from abroad involve waiting and hassle, but digital purchases are immediate. Another advantage is the lightness. Imagine carrying 350 books. It's impossible. But with one device, all those books are accessible with a touch, provided they're downloaded. This is a huge benefit as it eliminates the burden of carrying weight. If we want to read multiple books or switch books, it's much easier. Kindle offers another feature. When reading a physical book, you might need to stop to look up a word. With Kindle, this process is simplified. The next advantage is lightness. Imagine carrying 350 books. Impossible. With one device, all are available at a touch if downloaded. We avoid carrying weight. Reading multiple books or downloading another is easier. Kindle's built-in dictionary lets you select a word for instant meanings. It even has a Wikipedia extension for more context, all without needing your phone. It's going to be impossible. And with this one device, we can have all those books available at just a touch, as long as we have them downloaded. So this is a huge advantage because we don't have to carry all that weight. And if, for example, we want to read several books at once, or maybe we don't like a book and want to download another one, there are so many situations where it makes it much easier. There's a feature that Kindle has, which is another advantage for me. When you're reading a physical book, you have to stop, maybe look up a word in a separate dictionary, or grab your phone to search for a specific word you don't know and want to understand its meaning. Here we don't have to do any of that. We simply enter the book, we have the word selected, we click on it, and it already has some pre-established dictionaries that directly vote for the result, or it even has a Wikipedia extension that directly shows us which character we are looking for, or gives us a history that can tell us about that word or phrase that we chose without the need to go to a telephone. And this connects to another advantage for me, which is the issue of procrastination. When you're reading a traditional book, if you want to look something up, like a word or a phrase mentioned in the book, that can often lead to procrastination. For example, I once was reading a book that referenced a video, so what did I do? I searched for that video directly and wanted to watch it, and that video led me to another video and then to another one, and in the end, I stopped reading the book altogether. I just kept watching videos, and that led me to procrastination. Don't think of the Kindle as a tablet for browsing the internet or searching for stuff and all that. This device is really meant for reading. I mean, you can search through a browser and get your results. You can even look things up on Google. But due to its limitations, it's definitely not optimal for scrolling through social media or anything like that. So, it helps reduce procrastination compared to other devices. Switching from physical books to digital reading, like on a Kindle, doesn't reduce enjoyment or cause procrastination. Kindles offer features that enhance reading, such as adjustable brightness for any lighting and screens that are easy on the eyes. I was initially unsure, but I don't regret buying mine. Even older models are reliable. Check the video description for my model and join our Telegram for deals on platforms like Amazon. When I say this has a lot of features for us, it's because, for example, one problem I had with physical books is that if I want to read at night and I don't have any lamp or light to illuminate the book, then I just can't read because there won't be any light in my room or in a really dark place. So, I probably won't be able to do it. And if I try, maybe if I'm sleeping next to someone or if I'm with someone who's sleeping, it's all dark and I turn on a lamp, that person might be bothered by the light reflecting, which is what allows me to read a traditional book. With the Kindle, it's like having another screen, and on this screen, you can crank up the brightness to the max or turn it down. By the way, the version I have, the Paperwhite, has an amazing brightness level. You don't need to set up lamps in dark places, nor do you have to hide from the sun when reading in bright light because the brightness literally overcomes it, and you can see perfectly. So, the thing is, with this, you can read in any environment. If you're with a lot of people and there's a lot of light, you can do it perfectly. If you're alone in the dark, you can do that too. And especially, having this type of screen doesn't strain your eyes, which is something a lot of people worry about. They think that when they start reading on this, it'll be the same as reading on a phone or an iPad or something similar, but no. Obviously, this screen is 100% designed for human eyes so we can read properly. Sure, over time, we might get tired, but we won't feel fatigued like we would watching a YouTube video on a phone, where our eyes get irritated after a while. This screen is completely adapted, and it feels like you're literally reading a book. So, if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll gladly respond. If you're unsure about whether to buy it, I totally get it. I was pretty indecisive at first too, thinking, is it really worth it? But after I bought it, believe me, I don't regret it at all. That said, it depends on each of you which version you want. Honestly, even the older versions from that year are still worth it. I've seen videos like this where people have had their Kindles for years and are still using the same one. It still works for them just fine. Maybe the battery drains a bit faster, but it's not like it goes from lasting 10 days to 10 minutes. It might go from 10 days to 9.5 days, so it doesn't change that much. So, it really depends on you which version you want to buy. I'll leave the one I have in the video description in case you want to buy it. And by the way, if you're someone who's always on the lookout for deals, remember we have a Telegram link in the description so you can join and discover offers we'll be sending out constantly from different platforms like Amazon, AliExpress, etc. It could even be for the Kindle when it's on sale, and we'll send the link in there. See you next time. Bye. It could even be for the Kindle when it's on sale, and if you want to buy it, we'll be sending the link. It's in the description. See you next time. Bye.